So, Erda, we've learned so much talking to you. What advice do you have for anybody listening to this? Just about, what can they do to improve their lives, to be more successful, to, take chances and go for it?
My advice will be to never stop learning, to continue to push forward, challenge yourself. For me, this interview today was a challenge. I know that I told myself I am going to step out of my comfort zone. And that helps you to grow professionally and personally. So no matter how bad you think the situation may be, believe in yourself. Believe that God is guiding you through so many different challenges in your life, and have faith.
For anybody listening to this, whether it's somebody in the behavioral health field or just somebody who is listening to this to learn more about mentorship and success and really outside of the behavioral health field, but taking away key lessons here, what are some kind of parting words or advice that you would have?
I think there are a couple key lessons that I'd like to talk about. First of all, I'd like to urge everybody to get involved in some way in your community. It can be with Hanley, but it doesn't have to be. It can be anything that piques your interest, your desire, that is community-based work. If every member of our community got involved, we would be a happier place, not because of that involvement, but because of the personal enrichment each one of us feels with that community-based work and the feeling of being able to give back. I mean, it is extraordinary. It is such a gift when we get to give back. The second thing is, I am just going to ask each and every one of you to have grace with somebody with a behavioral health challenge. When you encounter somebody with a substance use disorder, I want you to think instead, oh, maybe this person has cancer. How would you respond if that person had cancer, or if they had diabetes, or, if they had gout or something else? You would not judge them. You would hope, you would wish for them that they got quality treatment. And, if we all approached behavioral health challenges that way, more people would get the treatment they need because they wouldn't feel that shame. And feeling shame really is a closed door to wanting to reach out. And the last thing is, and I know this isn't what you asked for, I would just like to thank you because Hanley can't do its work without partners like you, Adam, who really understand the power of effective treatment. And, families get healed. Families come back together and move forward together when quality treatment is involved. So thank you for advocating for quality treatment and for understanding its power to heal families.
Thank you so much for being here. What advice would you have for anybody who's listening to this, maybe a young lawyer, maybe somebody who's not even in law, but just wants to start a business or, just trying to figure out life? All right, what are some kind of parting final words of wisdom?
Well, I'm an optimist, so I have a mantra that I use and employ all the time, and that is, things work out in the end. And if you find that they're not working out, just know that it's not the end. So if you stay the course with whatever that project is, things will work out in the end. And I think, we tend to be down in the dumps, and especially in my line of work, I encounter people who, they're at their bottom and they can't see an upside. And, I help them see that upside. And we have, we have bankruptcy for a reason, the same reason that pencils have erasers. People make mistakes. And so if you made a mistake, that's okay. You get back on on your horse or your bike or whatever it is that you're riding, Harley, and, stay the course.
What advice would you have for people listening to this in any industry? It could be somebody in law school. It could be somebody in business school. It could be, somebody who's older and wants to change careers because, this is called success in South Florida. So what advice would you just have to anybody listening to this, maybe that's struggling through something right now and needs a little bit of help and advice, or what can they learn from you?
I think, getting advice and listening is always helpful. I can tell you, in my time frame, we haven't been right all the time. I think, there's things I've done that, didn't work out the way I wanted them to, but it's kind of, what are the lessons you learn from them? And I said, one of the things is knowing when you've, made a mistake, realizing it sooner than later, and making that decision to, listen, this isn't going to work. We need to find an exit. I think that's something that's a takeaway I've learned along the way.
There's a lot of people who are just shy or maybe scared to be rejected or scared of failure. So what advice would you say? Because for you, it's easy, or it appears to be easy, but what would you say for those people to kind of get out of their shell and just do it?
Well, it's also confidence. If you're not confident in yourself, you can't portray confidence. And that's a big deal. Getting out of your shell, I really don't have an advice for someone because if you don't feel it, it's not going to be authentic, and you're just going to look like you're forcing it and trying to be something that you're not. But if you have confidence in yourself, that's where it starts. Because if you wait for someone to give you that pat on the shoulder and say, "Oh, you're doing a great job," or "You're great at what you do," you probably may not get it. You may not get it, but I guarantee about 90% of the time, no one's going to go out of their way to say, "Hey, you're amazing at what you do." So you have to have that self-confidence, go forward, try it. If it doesn't work, try it again. It doesn't work, try again until you realize that maybe you have it or you don't have it, but you have to try.
Right.